With Doubtnut, get instant video solutions to all your maths, physics, chemistry, and biology doubts. Just click the image of the question, crop the question, and get instant video solution. Download Doubtnut app today.
Hello students, the question says, read the following statements. Alright, here are 4 statements given over here and we have to select how many of above statement are true. Alright, so the question or the statements given over here, they are associated with the topic gaseous exchange. Okay, gaseous exchange. Alright, so we know that gaseous exchange or gas exchange is required as our tissues need continuous oxygen, right? For our tissues, as they need continuous oxygen. Okay, so this oxygen, it is absorbed by atmospheric air, correct? This oxygen is absorbed from atmospheric air okay. So what happens that our body tissues, they take in the oxygen from the atmospheric air, all right, and give out the carbon dioxide, or they eliminate the carbon dioxide back into the atmospheric air, right? Now this process, what we discussed over here, this is the aim of the gaseous exchange in a body. Okay, now to exchange these gases, we need to transport it, right? So the transportation is done by hemoglobin, all right? Gas exchange, we need to transport, right? We need to transport these gases, and for this we need, or this transportation, this is by it is responsible, or which it is responsible by the hemoglobin, all right? Now hemoglobin is a protein, all right? It's a protein that works as respiratory pigment, all right? This protein works as respiratory pigment, as it has the ability, because it has the ability to bind with O2 and CO2, with oxygen and the carbon dioxide, all right? So it has the ability to reversibly bind with the oxygen and carbon dioxide, all right? So that's why hemoglobin is responsible for the transport of the gas exchange, all right? Now when this hemoglobin, when hemoglobin binds with oxygen, it forms a complex which is known as oxyhaemoglobin, all right? And when this hemoglobin binds with CO2, when it binds with CO2, the complex over here that is formed is known as carbamino hemoglobin, all right? Now many factors are there that affect the transportation of oxygen via hemoglobin. Now that means that how much a hemoglobin can carry the oxygen, all right? So if we talk about option number 1 over here, so these are the factors given over that would affect the gaseous exchange, right? So if we talk about the option number 1 given over here, that says high H plus ion concentration and higher temperature are favorable for dissociation of oxygen from oxyhaemoglobin. All right. So if we check our option number 1 over here, right? Option 1. So as in our body, we know that if pH is low, all right, if pH is low, so we know that H plus ion concentration, it is high. All right. And temperature is also high. Correct? That's what it is given in the statement, right? So then there are less chances of production for oxygen hemoglobin. If this is the condition that pH is low and H plus, if H plus concentration is high and temperature is high, that means the pH is low. So there will be less chances for the production of oxyhemoglobin. All right. Because now there will be like the binding of O2 with hemoglobin gets disassociated or dissociated rather than getting associated over here, right? That makes it the correct statement that option 1 that says higher concentration, H plus concentration and higher temperature are favorable for dissociation of oxygen from oxyhemoglobin, right? So this is the correct statement. If we talk about statement 2 that says partial pressure of oxygen in alveoli is higher than in tissue. Okay, so if we discuss option number 2 over here, so as in our body tissue, there is regular metabolic processes that utilizes O2, right? Because when we oxidize glucose, then only we get the energy, right? So O2 is being used continuously. So if we talk about the body tissues over here, so there is regular metabolic activities. Correct? Okay. So in alveoli, if we talk about alveoli, so we will find that O2 is high, like higher than the tissue because that is the main site of the gaseous exchange, right? In alveoli, what happens? It's the main site, correct, for the gaseous exchange. So we can always find that oxygen concentration is higher in alveoli rather than the body tissues, because in body tissue what happens, there's regular metabolic activities or processes, and for those metabolic processes we do need oxygen, right? So oxygen gets reduced in the body tissue, but alveoli is the main site for the gaseous exchange, so we can always find oxygen in higher amount over there, right? So the option number 2 says that partial pressure is of oxygen is greater in alveoli than body tissue is the correct statement over here. If we talk about statement number 3 that says the maximum volume of air a person can breathe, it will be breathe, not breather, in after a forced expiration is vital capacity. So the definition for vital capacity is correct over here, because what is vital capacity? If we talk about vital capacity, so it is the total amount of air, total amount of air that is exhaled after maximal inhalation. All right, maximal inhalation. So now this can be calculated, or it includes what all? It includes tidal volume. Okay, tidal volume, that is 500 ml, plus it includes IRV, that is inspiratory reserve volume, that is almost 3000 ml, or we can say 2100 ml to 300 ml, plus it includes ERV, that is expiratory reserve volume, all right, which is almost 1000 ml to 1100 ml. Now this all is being calculated and summed up, and our vital capacity is about, when we add these three values, we get our vital capacity, which should be about 4800 ml. Okay, so the statement given over here that the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration is vital capacity. So that is the correct definition over here, right? Now, if we talk about option 4, statement 4, it says in alveoli, PCO2 low and PO2 high are for dissociation of CO2 from carbamino hemoglobin. All right. So CO2 is in the form of carbamino hemoglobin or carbonic acid, right? It is transported in our blood. At tissue site, it takes bicarbonate ions it forms the bicarbonate ions after it reacts with the water, right? And then it comes in our blood plasma. If we talk about the alveoli site over here, all right, so in alveoli site, CO2 pressure decreases and O2 pressure increases, all right, with the help of an enzyme. So if we talk about alveoli site, so what happens over here? CO2 pressure, it is decreased and O2 pressure is increased, all right. So with the help of an enzyme, that is carbonic anhydrase, all right, it gets converted into CO2 and H2O. So CO2 goes out, so we can eliminate it from our body, correct? So from this fourth statement is also correct, that in alveoli PCO2 is low and PO2 or pressure of oxygen is high. And if the concentration or the pressure of oxygen, pressure of CO2 is low, then it dissociates the carbon dioxide from the carbamino hemoglobin. So this is also the correct statement. So over here, there is no false statement given here. So our option number 4, that says 4, all of them are true, right? I hope I have solved the question. Thank you.
For class 6 to 12, IIT JEE and NEET level. Trusted by more than 5 crore students. Download Doubtnut app today.